Welcome, friends. Part 2 of number 10. Spontaneous projections from the waking state. Assumed to be perhaps very difficult, if not near impossible, and certainly by materialists and skeptics, but still perceived as wildly challenging by many who have lucid dreams and occasional out-of-body experiences from the sleep state. But in my experience, it's just another step. It's just another expansion. And I'm not sure why I had those headphones on, but we'll take them off. And expanding into using that, sense of adventure into this greater self, the self that is not bound by the body, the brain, the assumptions of limitation. It sure feels like we're limited most of the time in this body. It needs to be cared for and fed and tenderly looked after. We all know that. But it does have a resilience, does it not? It carries us in one form or another through many incarnations. Its functions, when examined, scientifically, medically, seem miraculously, brilliant. The heart, the lungs, all perfect little machines operating beautifully most of the time. These bodies, fashioned by creator spirits initially, for carrying us in this planetary atmosphere, in these conditions. Wonderful vehicles. The conventional view is that the attributes evolved to harmonize with changing circumstances. That's not the mystical view. And perhaps neither the twain shall meet, the mystical and the scientific. Moving on from that, I had been asked a few times recently and in the farther past by acquaintances and email pals that are somewhat held back, somewhat held down, somewhat darkened by the activities of those who would entrain us to be their servants, those who would use fear and lying propaganda to keep us in line with their agendas, which of course always involves sustaining capitalist enterprises, capitalist empires, with greater and greater percentages of profit. Buy. fear, fear, fear. Make the most of your shopping options. The pressures of wars, quote-unquote natural disasters, illness, plague, depression, general all-round suffering, which of course goes right through history, but does seem to be more efficiently manipulated by the economic and political elites. Those unelected censors of love, if I may quote an old album, those unaddressed censors of love, who would have us bicker and compete and quarrel and be distanced from each other, rather than move toward our embrace of the brotherhood of man. People feel depressed by this. Is there no way out? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Can I get information that will lead to that understanding? Well, I have put out a request a few moments ago, and I seem to be in the psychic, energetic presence of at least an aspect of these progressed beings, these advanced souls. They have aspects. There's not just one of them, there's many of them. And one aspect of the being known as Jesus seems to be close. And he is giving a blessing. To begin with, anyway. Not just to me, to everyone. And I thank him for being present, and he acknowledges that, seeming a little, I wouldn't say solemn, but dignified, and I sense he feels that's appropriate for the situation, and I agree. There will always be those, he says, or telepaths if you like, who would oppress us, who would oppress you, who would hold you down and make you obey and use lies, exaggerations, misrepresentations, all the armature of propaganda to keep you in your place and doing what you're told. This has always been the case, but modern technology and means of communication has made it all the simpler for them to act upon your consciousness and influence you in ways that are not contributing to your growth, but contributing to your fear and recoiling from commitment. While some of you pray to be led out of this dark forest, and others of you meditate and bring your consciousness above that dark consciousness. Sorry, this is me, sorry. Bring your consciousness above that dark forest and see the sunlight of love and compassion and mercy beyond it. And others we now know, watching you, use stimulants, plant stimulants, stimulants created in the lab, transformative substances that will take you beyond that dark forest into the turbulent and sometimes majestic experiences beyond that will disturb your consciousness, but in that disturbance, cause it to grow. We guiding souls, we shepherds of humanity, we elder brothers are aware of this, all of this. We see the way that the self-identified owners put reins on you and ride you like the horses of old. We encourage you to unseat those riders and run free on your own for the joy and pleasure of running on your own and being your own person. Understand that this has always been the task of the individual, freeing themselves from the yoke of power and lust and fear. Of course, the methods of deception have become more efficient, less brutal, more subtle, more subtly malicious. We would like to feel that that would challenge your inquisitive intelligence, your desire to go beyond that imprisoned state. We would encourage you in the use of unconditional love to go beyond that imprisoned state. Love can melt all bonds that are based on doubt and fear and shame and timidity. It just melts them, as the sun will melt slivers of ice on a winter's morning. Look to the sun, not only for pagan splendor, but for the height of consciousness, that level that feeds everyone equally. Just as I fed the crowds with loaves and fishes, the sun feeds you with the energy of growth, the energy of sustenance, the light that you need, and it gives it to all equally. There is no preferences in the love of the sun. All its beings, all its children, are there to be benefited to. The sun just gives and gives and gives, and life is sustained. sustained in the ups and downs of creation and destruction. Life will never end, much as the fearful consciousness might think. Individual lives end physically, emotionally, mentally. There is a constant cycling of the soul's energy through bodies, lives, experiences. I and other ascended masters and mistresses, if you feel that the need for that term, masters and mistresses, have been through those cycles and survived and thrived. And we are committed to staying here on the planet, close by, to help you surf the waves of challenge and difficulty and apparent suffering. Like your spirit guides and your angels, we can always be contacted by those determined to do so. Do not assume that we are uncaringly beyond your human consciousness. We made the decision many decades ago to make ourselves more available. If you wish to understand how I and my comrades, my colleagues, view life on earth in all its challenging difficulties and details, meditate upon me. Use any image, any feeling that you feel is appropriate. The children's dolls of my being that you can buy in gift shops, and portraits in the same. They can also be used. Use the image and the experience that is closest to you, even the image of no image, even the feeling, even the understanding of the unconditional love and mercy that I represent. We are here for you. I am here for you. We have plenty to do in our roles as the elder brothers of humanity. But we are complex beings with many attributes and aspects. And some of those aspects are here to help you. We are not on some distant star observing. We are here. And you may assume that we can be on some distant star and observing at the same time, and being close to you. That is true. But do not doubt the power of our intimate connection to you. Do not fear the darkness as it seems to creep up and around you. It is merely the shadow of your being on a sunny day that apes your movements as you move along. Know your eternal being. Understand that it cannot be disassembled and thrown to the winds. I give you my being. Take what you need. And when you've had your fill, pass it to others. Shine upon them like the sun shines upon you. I take my leave graciously and lovingly. I am departing, but I'm not going far. Yes, he's seeming to be fading, just like, turning a corner and walking down the street. So, well, wasn't that special? I mean, really nice. Really, really nice. I do love his energy. It's just so all embracing, all tender, and yet, I don't know, tender and strong at the same time. Of course, he is one of many prophets, many sons of God. I embrace them all, but in my current incarnation, I'm slightly closer to Jesus and Maitreya and Buddha. But I embrace those who embrace their prophets. Let us all be inspired. Let us all care for one another in any way that we can. Let the brotherhood of man evolve into the brotherhood of all sentient beings. And that, my friends, seems to be all for now. There is time for more spontaneous projections, but they seem somehow inappropriate at this time. Do continue to enjoy your own, however. Don't wait for me, but I will see you very soon. And best wishes on all your mysterious explorations, all your tumbling through the maze and the carnival of appearances. May joy bring you to special places and lovely people. Bye now.